It's a beautiful Sunday morning. You just can't put into words what the feeling is the next day after beating Alabama. I have so much respect for the University of Alabama and what they're probably the best college football team historically ever. When you beat a team of that magnitude, you're extremely excited. At least I am, and extremely just grateful that your team was able to pull the game out. But this is the only time. This is only the third time since 2006 Tennessee's beaten Alabama. It's a big deal. I'm so proud of the Tennessee Vols on how they played, especially in that second half. It's 3 games in a row that Tennessee has been shut out in the first half in SEC action, but they still found a way to get it done. I finally saw the light come on for Nico Iamaleava. He's just struggled, but he started running the football, getting more involved in the run game. He started connecting on some of those deep throws. The throw to Chris Brazzell was just perfect. The throw to Dante Thornton was perfect. And I'll be the first one to say I was way too emotional about Nico. Too over the top, he's a bust, yada yada. But I had not seen him do it in big time action. I was really wondering if he was a bust or not. He's not a bust. He's going to be fine. And I'm the first one to come on here and say I just need to calm down. And I should have been more patient with him. But he definitely proved to us that he does have the potential to be a good quarterback in this league, and I'm extremely proud with how he led our team to victory. So let's get into the stats of this game. First, with Alabama, they had 314 total yards. Tennessee had 408. Now, I said earlier this week that Tennessee needed probably over 400 yards if they wanted to win this game. Okay, check that off. Passing yards for Alabama, 239. That's okay. Limiting them under 250, I'm fine with that. Tennessee had 194. I also said earlier in the week that Tennessee needed to pass for 200 yards if they were going to win. Well, this is close, so they need to be around 200, so they did that. Rushing yards for Alabama, 75 rushing yards. A phenomenal job by this defensive line, front seven, at limiting Alabama's running game, keeping Jalen Milroe in the pocket where he wasn't able to scramble and get out of the pocket. And on the other hand, Tennessee had 214 yards rushing offensively. I said Tennessee needed to rush for over 200 yards. Check that box. So Tennessee did that to win this game. Now, first downs, Alabama had 23, Tennessee had 21. Third down efficiency, this is a key number. Alabama was 3 for 14, so Tennessee was getting off the field on third down defensively. Tennessee was 6 for 14. Total plays, Alabama had 79, Tennessee had 71. Tennessee made Alabama punt 7 times. Alabama had a really good offense. Jalen Milroe, Ryan Williams, Jam Miller, Justice Haynes, good offense, good offensive line. To make this team punt 7 times just tells you a couple things. One, our defense is phenomenal, and that Neyland Stadium effect really caused them a lot of issues, I think, with a lot of penalties, which is what I'm going to get into. Alabama had 15 penalties for 115 yards, and a lot of that was before the ball snapped. Dead ball stuff that just caused those issues. Home field advantage was a huge issue for Alabama here. The Neyland Stadium effect caused them a lot of issues. Now, here's the not good thing about Tennessee: 3 turnovers. You had the turnover on the first drive of the game. We're probably going to score on that drive at the minimum 3 points. Sampson fumbles it, and then we have 2 interceptions thrown, one by Gaston Moore, one by Nico. So now, Alabama had 2 turnovers as well, but we got to clean up the penalties. Alabama had the ball 7 minutes more, which is not really concerning. We usually go faster than the opponent, so nothing really to see there. Players of the game. All right, so I'm going to have a honorable mention here. I'm going to throw in here too, but the ones that I'm going to put that I'm going to talk about right now, though, is Jermod McCoy. 1 interception, 8 tackles. You can make an argument he's the biggest pickup in the portal this offseason. This guy's just done everything. I mean, when Ryan Williams went his side, he shut him down. Jermod McCoy is just an absolute stud. Dylan Sampson, Just old, dependable Dylan Sampson, who's now over 800 yards on the season. He had 2 TDs, 139 yards. He had 26 carries. He averaged over 5 yards per carry. He is on target right now to have over 1,500 total yards, which I said in the preseason that I thought he would do that. And when I said that, I thought, that's a tall task. He's on task to do it. Will Brooks, man, this guy, walk-on player from Birmingham, Alabama, seals the game with a game-winning interception to put the clamps on Alabama. He's got 8 tackles. He saved a touchdown on Jalen Milroe earlier in the game with a a touchdown-saving tackle. He played phenomenal. James Pierce, I said this earlier in the week, he's coming on. He's playing a lot better, and he had another great game. He had 1.5 sacks. He had 3 tackles. And what the stats don't show either is just how much pressure he was putting on Milroe all game long. This guy was he knew what gum Jalen Milroe was chewing in this game. Just a phenomenal game by James Pierce. And then honorable mention, Nico Iamaleava. I'm the first one to admit fault on this and to eat crow. I've been on him, talking down on him. He proved to me that he's got what it takes, because in that second half with 0 points, he led us to 24 points in the second half, made some beautiful throws, made some beautiful runs, and he got the job done. So I'm going to shut up about Nico the rest of the year. I was really wanting him to prove me. Now, he had stats against NC State. He had stats against Kent State and UT Chattanooga, but I had not seen him do it against a big-time team, and I wanted him to show me. He showed me. So now I'm going to shut up about Nico. But anyway, great win for the Tennessee Vols. And now let's get into this power rankings, okay? For the first team, I'm going to go from last to first. So the first team I'm going to talk about here at number 16 is Mississippi State. Now, I'm going to tell you about Mississippi State. They only lost by 10 points to A&M this past week. They actually had more yardage than A&M did in this game. They're playing much better. The week before, they played at Georgia, played a very competitive game against Georgia. So, Mississippi State, they don't have any SEC wins, but they are moving in a positive direction with Jeff Lebby. They are doing better. So if you're a Mississippi State fan, you have to be they were causing turnovers on Connor Wegman. They're moving in the right direction. I see this. They're not a horrible team. The thing is, they play in the hardest conference in America, so you just don't get any easy games. But Mississippi State, you're 16, but you are getting better. I got Auburn at 15. Man, this is another game they should have won. The receiver drops a touchdown in the end zone, which would have closed the game out for them. They couldn't do that. They couldn't close it out. And they just can't close games out. I mean, if you watch them play some of these football games, they're playing really good. They play good against the run. They're physical, but they can't close games out. A lot of this is the QB issues. Peyton Thorne is not a good quarterback. And the receivers can't catch the football half the time. So they cannot close games out. But I got Auburn at 15. 14, Oklahoma, just absolutely blasted by South Carolina, 35-9. They don't have a QB, really. They don't have no clear QB. They had 4 turnovers in this game. And it doesn't get any better for Oklahoma because they had to play a very well-rested and angry Ole Miss team next week, and that's going to get ugly in my opinion, because I think Ole Miss, even though they have 2 losses, is still a very good football team, and I don't think Oklahoma has any kind of chance in this game. So let's move on to 13, which is Kentucky. They picked up their 4th loss of the season, just absolutely dog walked down in Gainesville by the Florida Gators, 48-20. Kentucky, who has, I think everybody will agree with this, coming into this game, had a really good defense. They gave up almost 500 total yards to Florida and their true freshman quarterback, DJ Lagway. I really thought Kentucky had turned the corner in that Ole Miss game, but now they've lost to Vanderbilt, now they've lost to Kentucky, and it looks like the cheese is slipping off the cracker in this game. It's in this season for Kentucky, and they got Auburn next week, so we'll have to see what happens. Vanderbilt at number 12. They didn't look great against Ball State 24-14, but guess what? They picked up their 5th win of the season. They were only projected to win 3 games this regular season. So you got to give Vanderbilt a lot of credit for going out here and getting Diego Pavia and the offensive coordinator from New Mexico State, and they have just made a huge difference for this Vanderbilt team. They also went out and they got a lot of portal players that have just made this team much, much better. And Vanderbilt looks like they're going to definitely be bowling this year, and I could never imagine saying that in the preseason about Vanderbilt, but they are a pretty darn good football team. Number 11, Florida. This is a team that if they would not have slipped up against Tennessee would be on a 4-game win streak after this Kentucky win. They are getting better every week. Florida fans, you may be stuck with Billy Napier if you can win football games. I know Florida fans are kind of like, God, I want to win football games, but I don't want to keep Billy Napier. But hey, listen, Florida's playing good football. Defensively, they're playing better, creating turnovers. They're running the ball effectively. Ran the ball really, really well against a Kentucky front 7 that's pretty darn good. DJ Lagway didn't play amazing, but he played well enough. He didn't get them beat. I don't think he had any turnovers or anything like that. He's a very good quarterback. He's just a true freshman. And if you're a Florida Gator fan, you have to be excited about the future with him as your quarterback. So I got Florida at 11. Number 10, Arkansas. This is the common theme for Arkansas. Turnovers. When they beat Tennessee, they limited the turnovers, but against Tennessee or against LSU this week, they had 3 turnovers, and they only had 40 rushing yards in this game. You're not going to win any kind of football game out only having 40 yards rushing. They were out physical, they were outplayed, and they were just absolutely dog-walked at home against LSU. So Arkansas, they're at 10, but it's hard to believe that this Arkansas team beat Tennessee. I mean, just crazy to me. Arkansas is not bad, but they had no business beating Tennessee. Number 9, South Carolina. This is a team I could have moved up even more on this list. But they do have 3 losses. But, man, this team, the losses that they have, they only really have one bad loss. That was at home against Ole Miss. They should have beat LSU at home. And then they lost that other game that was really, really tight too. So, South Carolina is playing really good football right now. Defensively, I don't try to use this word very loosely, but they have a very, very elite defense. And that front 7, there's 2 DNs, Stewart and I'll think of his name later, but Kennard, just phenomenal defensive ends that will just disrupt everything you do. So South Carolina, man, I just never saw South Carolina being this good in the preseason, but they are a solid football team. They're not an easy out for anybody to play. And the crazy thing is, South Carolina offensively only had 250 yards of total offense, and they still beat Oklahoma 35-9 because of the turnovers that their defense was forcing. So just a great game. And at the other game I was going to talk about South Carolina. Yeah, they almost beat Alabama as well. So South Carolina moving up the power rankings and looking like a solid football team. Number 8, Missouri. The only reason I have them here really is just because they do just have 1 loss, and they've had the benefit of playing a very easy schedule, and it's not going to get much better when they play Alabama next week, because I feel like Alabama's going to thump them good. Missouri looks like a complete pretender. They do not look like a complete team. They cannot protect Brady Cook. He's getting sacked, got crazy. They only ran for 81 yards last week against Auburn. Very, very lucky to win that game at home against Auburn. Give them credit. They did come back. They did win the game. But I've not seen Missouri play one game this year and looked at it and said, man, that's a good football team. They don't look like anything of the team of last year. Dylan Schrader being gone obviously is hurt. I think they lost some players to the portal. But Missouri looks like a pretender at this point, and I really believe Alabama will just blast them next week in Tuscaloosa. Number 7, Ole Miss. They were off this week. They got Oklahoma next week, so I know they're raring to go and get back in the win column. But at number 7, I got them. Number 6, Alabama. The lack of a running game is really hurting this Alabama team. Going into this game, I think they were below 50th in running the football, which is just that's not Alabama football. Alabama lines up and runs you over. The defensively, you have to be concerned that you let a struggling Tennessee offense score 24 points on you in the second half. Now, this Alabama team has everything in front of them. If they win out, they're going to be in the college football playoffs. I think the only game that's questionable is when they go to Death Valley, and I think in a couple weeks. If they can get that win, they've already got the Georgia win on their resume. They're going to be in the college football playoffs for sure. But Jalen Milroe had a rough game. But, dude, going against the front seven that Tennessee has in that 100,000-plus place, that's a not easy place to win. I've not lost faith in Jalen Milroe. I still think he's a very good quarterback. But he was in a very tough environment this weekend. But I got Alabama at 6. Tennessee at 5. This defense, man, it's the best defense Tennessee's had in at least 25 years, in my opinion. They still not give up more than 19 points in a game this year. Dylan Sampson's the best running back in the SEC by a landslide. Tennessee was able to put up over 200-plus rushing yards against Alabama. They also kept Alabama under 100 yards rushing. The thing about Tennessee, though, that they need to do, they've got to clean the turnovers over. They've got to clean the penalties up, too. Sloppy football. If we can get Nico to play the way he did in the second half, he got hurt. He came back a different quarterback. It's like it woke him up. If we can play like that offensively and get him involved in the running game with Dylan Sampson, with the throws that he can make consistently, Tennessee can almost beat anybody in the country. But we just got to keep improving. Tennessee has solidified themselves to be a very, very strong contender for the college football playoffs after this win. They still have one loss that I think they can give up and still be in it. They still got Georgia, but the rest of the games are going to be favored. So Tennessee at 5. Number 4, Texas. They came down to earth this week against Georgia. They really saw what an SEC team looks like. This was not Baylor. This was not Texas Tech. This was a very physical, aggressive Georgia defense, and they were pissed off because they were disrespected all week, and they were told that they had no chance to win this game, and they limited Texas to 29 yards rushing. That's big boy football. This is what I thought Georgia was going to be all year long, and Georgia woke up. This is not the team that beat Kentucky 14-13. This is the Georgia football team that I think is what we thought they were going to be, and I think they're going to be really hard to beat for the remainder of the year. This was not even the game that they played great in. Carson Beck had 3 interceptions. It was sloppy at times, but they still won the game. Number 3, A&M. They didn't play great last week. They did not play great, or yesterday, I mean. Kind of sloppy game. Connor Wegman had a couple interceptions. But, Mississippi State, hey, listen, Mississippi State's playing better. It's on the road. Every single game you play in the SEC, it doesn't matter who the opponent is on the road. It's a hard game to win. And going into Mississippi State with those cowbells and everything, playing, they had nothing to lose, and still winning by 10 points. I'm not going to punish A&M for winning a game on the road in the SEC. I still think A&M has a good rushing offense. They have a very solid defense. And if they can get Connor Wegman going a little bit more, they're tough to beat. So anyway, I got A&M at 3. Number 2, LSU. This is by far the most improved SEC team from week 1 to now. They lost the first game of the year to USC, and ever since that point, they've just played better and better and better. That win on the road at South Carolina is looking better every week too, and just absolutely dominated Arkansas. The running, and I'll tell you another, they limited Arkansas under 40 yards rushing. This was a good Arkansas rushing team, and they limited them under 40 yards rushing. Running games also getting going. Before, earlier in the year, LSU couldn't really run the football. It was all their quarterback throwing it all over the field, and doing that kind of thing. So Nussmeier has got some help now with the running game. They ran for over 150 yards against Arkansas. So with Garrett Nussmeier throwing the ball all around, the running game kind of getting more involved, being more complementary of the passing game. Defensively, much better. They're just playing much better. So LSU looking good, man. I got them at number 2. Georgia, now, they showed everybody that they're the big boys on the block. Just a dominating win. On primetime Saturday night at Texas, nobody believed they could win this game, and they showed everybody that they are still the best team in the SEC. And guess what? This was not a perfect game from Georgia. They still did not play great, but still beat Texas by 15 points. Limited Texas to like 29 yards rushing. And you know, Carson Beck didn't play great. He had 3 interceptions. Imagine if he would have played a really efficient game. So this Georgia team's dangerous, and they really show that they're a team that any given week they can embarrass you. This is not the team that lost, or that beat Kentucky only by 1 point. This is the real Georgia team. So I really I'm impressed by Georgia, and it's going to be really hard for the Vols to go down there in a couple weeks and beat them there, because they are defensively right now, it looks like they're back to where they were a couple years ago. So anyway, guys, that is my recap of Tennessee, and then there's my recap of the power rankings for this week where I have all the teams. I'd love to hear your thoughts and what you think, if I got it right or if I got it wrong. I'll talk to you guys soon. Thank you.